Well, a Wall Street Journal article has just set the internet on fire. The White House and Joe Biden are now doing massive damage control. And of course, the Democrats are being like, oh, that's not true. That's not true. Now, I believe, obviously, this is part of their plan and intention. No, the Wall Street Journal hasn't come around to the other side. That's absolutely not the case. I believe that this is just in time for the election, in attempt to get Joe Biden to step aside so they can bring in another candidate for the election. At least that may be part of the goal. Whether or not that will actually happen, well, time will tell. But either way, we know that Joe Biden continues to slip in the polls. And of course, he's now arresting and attempting to arrest his political opposition there, his main candidate, Donald J. Trump. I've got a lot to share with you, but it all hinges around a Wall Street Journal article that is just going to blow your freaking mind. But before I do, just a quick break from my sponsor. If you suffer from any kind of pain, please listen to this message. As we age, aches and pains are natural, and we're all looking for ways in which we can relieve that pain without addictions and without side effects. And that is where a pioneering medical scientist, Clint Winters, comes in. Now, you may have seen this world-renowned health expert featured in the national media as he's unveiled a natural pain reliever that is taking the world by storm. I'm talking about Canalidine, the 100% drug-free way to get full body pain relief. Canalidine has become the go-to pain reliever for millions of Americans, including myself, by the way, and I freaking love it. And not to mention hundreds of professional athletes. And the best news is Canalidine has no documented side effects after 14 years of extensive research. Now, if you want to try it out, I want to encourage you guys, go directly to trycano.com/Haven. You can also click the link in the description box or click that more button if you're on your cell phone. But make sure you check out Clint's informative report on American-made Canalidine. And right now, you can try it for less than $1 per day, risk-free for 90 days. So make sure you guys check that out. Beat that pain that you have. All right, back to the broadcast. Now, as a quick reminder, please make sure you hit that sub button and go all the way up to the all so you get notified. Not to mention, please also hit that big fat like button. All right, so let's dive into this Wall Street Journal article that has set the internet on fire and literally gone viral. And here it is. Behind closed doors, Biden shows signs of slipping. Participants in meetings said the 81-year-old president performed poorly at times. The White House said Biden is sharp and his critics are just playing partisan politics. Now, here's some of what was said. When President Biden met with congressional leaders in the West Wing in January to negotiate a Ukraine funding deal, he spoke so softly at times that some participants struggled to hear him. According to 5 people familiar with the meeting, he read from notes to make obvious points, paused for extended periods, and sometimes closed his eyes for so long that some in the room wondered whether he had tuned out. Here's some more accounts. Last year, when Biden was negotiating with White House Republicans to lift the debt ceiling, his demeanor and command of the details seemed to shift from one day to the next, according to then House Speaker Kevin McCarthy and 2 others familiar with the talks. On some days, he had loose and spontaneous exchanges with Republicans, and on others, he mumbled and appeared to rely on his notes. I used to meet with him when he was VP. I'd go to his house, McCarthy said in an interview. He is not the same person. Here's some more. Those who expressed concern about Biden said the behavior they saw suggested an unevenness, not the caricature of an aided leader that some of his political opponents draw. Here's some more. The president, this was in a particular meeting he had, he said this: the president moved so slowly around the cabinet room to greet the nearly 24 congressional leaders that it took about 10 minutes for the meeting to begin. Again, some people who attended recalled. And then there's this. Others who attended said Biden's demeanor and level of engagement fluctuated, and he seemed lively and engaged at some points. But when the topic moved to an immigration overhaul, Johnson, the House Speaker, offered Biden a list of dozens of executive actions he could undo to improve border security. Biden, rather than responding to Johnson's suggestions, chided him. According to people at the meeting, "I've forgotten more about immigration than you'll ever know." Well, there you go. Now, actually, the Wall Street Journal tells you how many people that they interviewed in order to come up with these assessments. And it says this article is based on the interviews with more than 45 people over several months. The interviews, by the way, were with both Republicans and Democrats, people who have personally met there with Biden. Now, most of those who said Biden performed poorly were Republicans, but even some Democrats said that he showed his age in several of the exchanges. Ruh-roh. Now, this obviously comes after Robert Hur's report that came out, gave us the bombshell 5-hour interview where Robert Hur sat with Joe Biden and then wrote a report saying, we're not going to go after Joe Biden for classified information because his memory's really bad. He doesn't know what he's doing and he's got signs of old age. I don't think he's going to understand what's happening. Strike one, strike two. And by the way, here is a third strike. Let me show you this. This is why they're up in arms, but take a listen right here. This is a Time magazine reporter. Here's what he said about Biden.
President Biden brushing off any concerns about his age. How did he seem to you?
He appears very much as he appears on TV. He is older than when he started in office. It's visible if you just look side by side on the tape. The transcript is a good place for people to go to assess that. We describe it in the piece as well. There's some sort of color description of how he appeared in there.
Color description of how he appeared in there. Just watch him just watch him when he reads the script. Oh, he's pretty much the same. Everybody sees. In other words, the guy is cognitively declining pretty massively. But, he's no Benjamin Button either. This was also on CNN. This is what they had to say. Take a listen.
Joe Biden bravado. But listen, you don't keep tabs on Democrats that the Wall Street Journal is interviewing and then have them circle back to highlight Biden's strength if you are darn sure and you don't think this isn't a vulnerability. They know, and it's not going away. He's not going to age backwards. This isn't Benjamin Button here. It's Joe Biden. I think all of us could use.
This isn't Benjamin Button. He's not aging backwards. He's getting older. Of course he's declining. Thank you, Communist News Network. In fact, the White House is having a flat-out conniption fit over this entire thing, because, well, obviously they want to keep him in the presidency, which many Democrats do not. White House fires back at the Wall Street Journal over the Biden story. It goes on to state this, that White House officials and President Biden's allies went on attack against the Wall Street Journal on Wednesday after the news outlet published a report on the president's performance in private meetings headlined, "Behind Closed Doors, Biden Shows Signs of Slipping." Obviously, this article right here. It goes on to say that several White House aides shared a lengthy segment from MSNBC's Morning Joe in which the host exhorted the Journal story as a hit piece. I've spent time with both of these guys privately, spent time with Biden and Trump privately. I've spent time with every White House speaker over the past 30 years. And Joe Biden, I'm just not close, said Joe Scarborough. So obviously he's there trying to say, Joe Biden's a good character and God forbid Wall Street Journal doesn't know what they're talking about. But they go on a little bit further. What a surprise. Republicans employing their election year message strategy that contradicts their own prior words about POTUS. And that was written by White House Communications Director there on X. I mean, really? We have to save him. We have to save him. It's just Republicans, as Dan Bongino likes to say, pouncing. Republicans pounce on the president. No, nobody wants the guy to run for office on his own side, at least. I mean, I want him to run because, hell, we got a good chance beating that guy. But of course, Miss Pelosi, whatever, she comes out and says, this Pelosi slams a Wall Street Journal article on Biden's mental acuity as a hit piece. Pelosi, in a statement on the social platform X, criticized the reporting for glossing over Democrats' accounts of their interactions with the president and instead focusing on attacks by Republicans, which, by the way, the article didn't fully do that. But it goes on. Many of us spent time with the Wall Street Journal to share on the record our firsthand experience with POTUS, where we see his wisdom, experience, strength, and strategic thinking. That doesn't really describe the POTUS. But anyway, Pelosi wrote, instead, the journal ignored testimony by Democrats and focused on attacks by Republicans and printed a hit piece. No, they used 45 people over several months to determine it. Then we also have the Wall Street Journal themselves kind of like, whoa, the Hill. Wall Street Journal reporter defends Biden article amid blowback. There you go. However you say it. But of course, a lot of people are on our side saying, yeah, there's something mentally wrong with this guy. Here is Edward Snowden. Front page at the Wall Street Journal confirming as politely as possible that Biden's apparent decline is real, referencing that same story. Then we have Ronnie Jackson on Biden's mental illness. He's got significant issues, and he does. Mike Pompeo sees it on Wall Street Journal's reporting of Biden's decline in mental acuity. And here's what he actually said. These aren't just private conversations where we can see that President Biden is no longer up to the task of being commander in chief and keeping Americans secure. But we see this in the public speaking that he does as well. He can't follow a teleprompter, like basic skill set that every leader in the free world needs to have, and he can't. We can see it in how he interacts with people. These moments that just look like he's getting older and that his facilities are not at all with him, he continued. I'm counting on our commander-in-chief of have the skill set, the mental acuity to actually deliver for America. And I think we can all see with our own eyes. We don't have to rely on the Wall Street Journal or anybody else to see that there is a real risk. Amen. Amen. I'm not a big fan of Mike Pompeo, but he ain't wrong there. And of course, Senate GOP's number 2 leader says Biden is slipping. And this was specifically Senate Minority Whip John Thurn there as well. So ruh-roh, here we go. So times are getting tough for the White House. They are literally in a straight up panic about this Wall Street Journal article. And I say, go ahead and share it with everybody you know. I'm not a big fan of Wall Street Journal, but the truth of the matter is the guy is gone. Everybody can see it. We can see it when he gets in front of he can't even read a teleprompter. My goodness. He can't walk up a flight of stairs. Now, in his defense, a lot of people fall on those stairs. All the presidents really have. But when you take into account his actual mental state, he mixes names. He gets lost in a train of thought. He repeats things that are not real and not true. The guy's gone. Anyhow, wanted to share all of that with you. I love you all. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.